Part 3. I got you, cousins. So Gina was upset at the fact that King's mom had texted her that, and also upset at the fact that King didn't even let her know what his real name was. She's like, what is the big deal? You know, I've gave you 2 kids. Why can't you just be up and honest about things? So King broke it down. King said the scars on my chest came from a stabbing that had happened, and they did all they could to save the nipples. King says all my life I've been called a girl because I was born without genitals. To Gina, that started to make sense because King would not allow Gina to touch him. They would do it with the lights off. And King always had to come from the bathroom before they started anything. They never had a real heat in the moment. Things get popping. But she never questioned it. So King just says, I like to go in and make sure that I'm looking okay. That way, if you look at me, I'm not embarrassed in the moment. So after King kind of confesses a few little things, even though they're not the full-blown truth, Gina promised him that she was going to drop everything and leave it alone. But Gina being a girl, we both know that's not the truth. A couple days later, Gina's out with her sister. Her and her sister get to talking. Her sister pulls out a news clipping and says, hey, have you seen this before? Gina was like, what is this about? The sister said, oh, this is a clipping that happened in King's hometown. But look, doesn't that girl look exactly like King? Startled with the little information that she had just found out, she went ahead and took the news clipping, but she didn't explain why. She just kind of told them, like, hey man, just mind your business. I know my man. I'll figure it out. She gets home later on that day. She asks Christian, hey, what is this news clipping? And instead of Christian just coming open and saying honestly what the news clipping was, he lies again. He says, oh, that's my twin sister, Christina. But I was stabbed. That's the stabbing that I talk about what happened on my chest. Again, another situation that makes Gina feel so sorry for King. Well, King is on his way to go see his grandma because his grandma had just passed. Gina decides to not go with King due to the simple fact of the interaction that she had with King's mom. But she told King, hey, while you leave, I'm going to go ahead and put the kids in the car and we're going to go shopping. So they both all part ways. When Gina gets to the store, she's got the kids in the car. She's walking up to the door. A young lady comes up to her. Oh, hey, I wanted to introduce myself. I know Chris from a long time ago. Blah, blah, blah. I've been trying to get a hold of Chris. Gina confused, but probably like, oh, she might have seen my face on Instagram or Facebook, you know, yada, yada, yada. But what this bitch want? So Nicole just goes to say, oh, I'm just so sorry. I haven't been able to talk to Chris since the incident happened. And I just want to give my condolences for his best friend, King. And I want to let him know that I'm thinking about him. And that I apologize for the role that I played. I should have kept my mouth shut. So Gina confused, like, King? Okay, that must be why he go by King in honor of his friend. Blah, blah, blah. So she went to go say King, but when Chris, I'll be sure to let him know. But she keeps the information in the back of her head. And same day, same action. Guess who's tailgating your boy back home to say bye-bye to his abuela? The ex. The ex happens to know a couple people out in his hometown, so he wants to get a little bit of information because, you know, of course, the sister told the ex about the news article, and for some reason the ex ain't buying that the kids is King's. He shows up to the same town. He ends up going over to Nicole's house, not knowing that Nicole is living there because Nicole's boyfriend happens to be the ex's cousin. So he shows up to his cousin's house getting to asking questions about a guy named King. Now, there is a guy named King, but they're not putting Christian as King. So they're saying, oh, King is that man. King got body, woo, woo, woo. So he thinking like, dang, okay, maybe I do need to back up off of King. But he's like, how can that dude be that dude? You know, he don't even play the part or look the part. So it's still sticked in the back of his head. But he did ask him who was Christian. And then they got to explain it. Oh, that's a confused girl, is how they put it. He said, confused like how? They said she portrays herself as a man and wants to be called a man, but that's a girl. And they asked, does she got a twin brother? And they said, they used to say King was her twin brother. So you see how things started to make sense and be connected for him, so he didn't do too much digging. But he couldn't wait to come back and tell Gina what he had heard about King. Fast forward to Christmas Day, which ain't nothing but a couple of months since that incident happened. But on Christmas Day, they rented out an Airbnb and the whole family showed up with all their kids so that they can all be together for the holiday. But for some reason, the ex found out the location. The ex shows up drunk, talking stuff. Them is my babies, woo woo woo. This man gets to live and take care of my child with my woman, blah blah blah. And gets to pushing up on Chris. He punches Chris. Chris punches back. Boom, boom, boom. They start tussling. Somebody calls the police on them. They are in a nice neighborhood and there are two young black men fighting. When they called 911, the police showed up quick. They put one in one cop car, one in the next. Christian the whole time, please just drive me away from here. I'll let you know who I am. Drive me away from here, I'll let you know. They ain't buying it, they want that information. So Chris tries to say nothing until he gets to the station because he don't want none of them, since all the family is out there, to know anything. When they got to the station, that's when Christian confessed the real name. They put Christian in a female box. Even though he looks and presents himself as a full man, they put him in a female tank. Like for part 4. Because this is when things get scary, things get shitty, and this is when it gets real juicy.